Hello, investors. This is Ted Zhang, portfolio manager at Revere Asset Management. Today is Friday, November 7th, 4:35, coming to you from New York City. State of the market, we are still in an uptrend. Market leaders, yesterday we didn't change the trend gauge, but probably should have. Decided to change it today. Market leaders are neutral now with some deteriorating action, but also some some themes in the markets still holding up, like the memory names. Short term, below the major indexes are below the 21 EMA, so we have a red arrow now. Medium term, we today held the 50-day moving averages on the S&P and the Nasdaq, but in the RSP and the small and mid caps, we are below the 50-day, so we have a yellow sub arrow there with the Nasdaq and S&P having more weighting for us. In long term, the 200-day, no indexes have broken yet, and therefore we still have a green arrow there. We don't have the four coveted green arrows anymore, and that definitely warrants some caution. What happened today? S&P Nasdaq upside reversal off their 50-day moving average. Some red to green moves on indexes. 21 over 21 list down 0.28%. Nine stocks up, zero neutral, nine stocks up, three neutral, nine down. Turbo 12 down 0.52%. Two stocks up, zero neutral, 10 down. Big 8 down 0.58%. RG8 up 0.54%. S&P up 0.13%. RSP up 0.84%. The Qs up down 0.32%. QQEW up 0.03%. Dow Jones up 0.16%. Mid caps up 1.12%. Russell small caps up 0.58%. Global 60/40 equities bonds up 0.07%. GROTECTION down 0.17%, and Turbo down 0.07%. As always, starting off with a chart of the S&P 500. Yesterday we closed below 821, like I said during my commentary on yesterday's video. Today we gapped down initially. Pretty much had a trend down day, but we ended up reclaiming the 50-day. You can see on the 5-minute, rallying strongly into the close. So far we have an upside reversal. Now this gives us a really clean line in the sand now, with today's lows being key. This Trump tariff low 65.50 also is a key level, as well as the 6,500 area as well. Continue on, RSP, red to green move as well, but still living below the 821 and 50. Qs also upside reversal off 600 level and the 50-day, closing at the highs of the day on elevated volume. So now the key is to see if we have follow through to the upside. We're up 0.2% post market after hours. SPY is up 0.14% after hours. So we'll see what happens next week. QQW, equal weighted Qs, also upside reversal, but still closed below 821.50. As you can see, the equal weighted indexes are relatively weaker relative to the moving averages. Mid caps reclaim the 8, but still below declining 21 and 50. Just really choppy action here. We really need clear 3327 to declare a new uptrend. In the Russell, huge upside reversal as well after undercutting 2400. We closed the highs of the day. Huge reversal of yesterday's lows as well, but still below the 821 and 50. Two things we don't want to see is the 8 and 21 are both sloping down now. We don't want to see the 8 cross below 21, and potentially that acting as resistance next week. That'd be the first cross and bearish cross below. It'd be the first cross of the 8 below the 21, or the 8 being below the 21 since late April of 2025. Same story for the Qs. Both are sloping down now. We haven't had that really in quite some time. We don't want to see the 8 cross below the 21. Continue on, the VIX was elevated today. We hit highs of 22, but it was a great sign for us to close below 20 at 19. We want to see that come down. S&P ATR is 1.24% now, so definitely elevated. Can lead to whiplash action. The dollar so far rejecting that 100 level. So far, a weekly reversal off the 40-week moving average. Let's see what happens here. This is typical price structure. We break below, rally to retest it. Now it's really key to see if do we fall through. to the downside on the dollar, or we consolidate sideways and break to the upside. Gold still consolidating really nicely. Try to poke its head above the 821 today on volume, but stuffed so far. We closed just above the 8, but below the 21 EMA. This could potentially start U-turning off the 10-week moving average as well. Silver also finding support 2 weeks in a row off the 10-week moving average. Volume's declining, and we're building this shelf here as well. Let's see if we can take out 44, 42, and that could potentially some more upside for silver and gold. Bitcoin, I'm going to jump to trading view. Bitcoin 3 weeks now, undercut reclaiming the 100K area. That continues to be defended quite strongly. So we'll see if that holds, and potentially Bitcoin rallies, reclaims some key moving averages, and builds this rest of the base. It definitely looks worrisome with the failed breakout, now a breakdown. But Bitcoin loves shaking weak hands out. This could be the first close below the 40-week moving average, but Bitcoin trades until Sunday, so we'll see what happens there. This could just be the start of a huge 1 year plus base. Finally, let's look at the yields. 2-year is pretty much flat, doing nothing today. 10-year also is flat at 4.09%. And so bonds really no movement today at all. Looking at high yield and junk pulls back to the 200-day now rallying, same with HYG. So if that finds support there, we see some risk on sentiment, that could bode well for the markets as well. That being said, that is it for the inter-asset correlation part of the video. And now onto the tail of the tape. Give me 1 second. Where is that? Just one moment here. It disappeared on me. Here it is. So we're kind of in this in-between bull case, bear case. 2 closes below the 21 EMA. So technically we're under the bear case, but we held and had an upside reversal to clear line in the sand now. And we'll see what happens in the coming days and weeks. CNN fear and greed dropped to 21 at extreme fear. So a combination of extreme fear and upside reversal could lead to a snapback rally. But the issue is NYSE and NASI are down. We're below the 821 now. And we just came off 100 in NAM. Some news today, Schumer said Democrats would be potentially willing to reopen the government if they extend some Obamacare subsidies from COVID. S&P was a standout on its earnings beat, huge guidance raise, and it closed on an all-time high. And then Elon's pay package was approved for his $1 trillion compensation if he hits some extremely hard benchmarks, such as 8.5 trillion market cap, hundreds of billions of EBITDA for 12 quarters in a row, millions of deliveries of vehicles, robotaxis, and humanoids. Day count down one to consolidation 1. 4 days below the 8 EMA, 2 days below 21 EMA. Again, the action today, we gapped down. Looked like we are going to have a trend down day, and then we rallied into the close, red to green. S&P ATR rises to 1.24% as well, or stays at 1.24% from yesterday. Across sectors, bond yields were pretty much flat, but a little bit up. Energy staples, home builders were up. Rare earth was up today, Bitcoin, gold, oil, and gas. On the downside, dollar, tech, communications, semiconductors, genomics, China, and mega caps. In Grow today, we sold Hood. Let me bring that chart up. It was cracked below the 50, below yesterday's lows, even though it saw an upside reversal. And we trimmed Tesla on the break of the 21 EMA. We closed lows of the range today. 0.99 beta, 3.94% open heat. In Turbo, we bought some XPXL, and the reason being is we're a little underexposed on the S&P, and this upside reversal gives us a line in the sand to manage risk against. We sold MDB, which ended up staging a huge reversal. We sold it at break even or broke back into the base, but it found support at 21 and rallied. We sold Lemonade as well for break even, just keeping things tight after yesterday's reversal. This also closed at the highs of the day, and then we sold Baba as well, breaking that low as well as the 50-day, even though that closed at the highs. But we had to manage risk, 1.09 beta, 4.17% rebar. Bottom line, S&P, Nasdaq, upside reversal off their 50-day moving averages. This gives a key line in the sand. Monday's keys, we're watching the S&P versus the 21 and 50-day, Qs versus the 21 and 50-day, as well as the Russell versus the 21 EMA and the 50-day. So now into some charts of interest. Starting off with SanDisk. Let's talk about some news here. They beat by 34 cents, beat on revenues. Got to Q2 earnings and revenues above consensus. It was definitely volatile action today. We had a morning push, filled at the previous high of the day, sold off, held the lows of the day, and we rallied into the close. This is the highest volume since the start of the run and one of the largest candles. So this is starting to accelerate here. If you go on a weekly chart or the daily, you can see we're starting to break that upper trend line. So definitely be a little bit careful. Tesla shakes back below to the 50-day. This just needs more time now, perhaps find support here and then fill in this area like that. Google still holding up well, holding the 8 EMA, one of the stronger mega caps. When we look at the other ones like Meta, it cracked below 200. It has been trickling since. Microsoft, double top, breakdown. Nvidia, also potential breakdown, but had an upside reversal at the 50-day. Oracle, also complete breakdown after earnings as well. What else? Apple's another one holding up well too. So Google and Apple are definitely the standouts. Look at Netflix, living below the 200-day. Avgo, they'll break out as well, below, shaking below the 50-day today. EOSC is definitely a relative strength name, breaking out this flag. It's a batteries and energy storage name. And then QuantumScape is solid state batteries as well, holding up quite well. So the battery theme, the energy storage theme, as well as SNDK, the memory theme, SNDK, MU, STX, and WDC. This group has been extraordinarily strong as there's supply and demand imbalance for memory. So now let's finish off, as always, the 21 over 21 list from top to bottom, green to red, as well as the Turbo 12. On the upside, SoFi was up 3.9% today, but still weak. Yesterday was the outside reversal closing below the 50. Today we had an upside reversal above the 50, but this volatile action is not what we want to trade. Hood, same thing. Broke below the AIM-21 yesterday, closed below 50, upside reversal closing right at the 50. CCJ, upside reversal off the 50-day, but still below the 21. Palantir, failed breakout here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the 11th earnings report since the start of the stage 2 uptrend. It saw a huge beat, surprise, and guidance raise, but outside weak reversal on high volume. And that's definitely a warning sign. MDB shook us out, reversed higher. Honestly, this flag is looking really good now. Crowd also held the top of the base in the 21 EMA. Looks like this one wants to go higher as well. RTX up 1%, building this flag, this Raytheon aerospace and defense name. Oil and gas name that owned by Grow, riding the 8 EMA higher. Credo, just huge volatility, failed breakout, now failed breakdown below the 50 and reclaimed the 21. Light, close well, but it's definitely extended from even from the 8. Nvidia, pretty much flat. Looked like it was breaking down bad, but upside reversal so far. We'll have to see what happens next week. MU just so strong, talked about it. Snow continues to hold the 21 EMA. TER, hold the 8 EMA after earnings gap. This looks still good. First solar name, undercuts reclaims the 8 EMA. Nice earnings and sales. AMD closing below the 21 EMA, down 1.75%. BRT down 1.7%, closing below the 21 EMA. WGMI breaks down as well, closing below the 21 EMA. GLW closing below the 21 EMA. Tesla closing below the 21 EMA, down 3.6%. CLS down 5.5%, but still closing above the 21 EMA. Now, Turbo 12, SNDK was a standout, like I said. Path was up 1.1%, holding the 50 for now, but back into the base. AVAV was up 0.4%, just holding the 50-day in this 300 spot. SECO copper stayed strong, broke out of this flag, retested it, held the 21, and now putting in another flag here. SYM robot name closing below the 21. TEM, huge breakdown after earnings, back to the 50-day from 104 back to 66. Amazing waterfall there. Genomics also failed breakout, now closing below the 821 and 50. BE Undercut reclaimed the 8, AAOI closed below the 50, and then TMDX down 4.7%, closing right at the 50. KRMN, huge volatility on earnings. At one point was down to 60, but rallied all the way to 70, closing below the 50, 8 and 21. And then herein was down 6.8%. Another failed breakout, closing above the 21. So there's a lot of mixed action. The relative strength names are clear. There are also a lot of stocks breaking below their 21 and 50 days, which will get removed next week. Some mixed action leaders, which is why we have the neutral sign. Indexes formed a line in the sand. 50-day today's lows really have to hold, or else the markets could be in more trouble. That being said, I'm going to wrap it up for today's video. If you have any questions, you can email me at ted@revereasset.com. My Twitter X is TedHZhang. Our phone is 855 Real Wealth. That is 855-732-5932. Our website is revereasset.com. Our social medias are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok, also at Revere Asset. And with that being said, this is Ted Zhang with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your weekend. And have a great rest of your week, and have a great weekend.